The chow hall was packed when a Marine shouldered past her, spilling food across her tray. "Move, lady. Marines eat first," he snapped loud enough for 3 tables to hear. Laughter followed, sharp, sheepish, echoing through the metal benches. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't even look angry. She simply placed her tray down calmly. Then the Marine smirked, until he saw the entire SEAL table behind her stand up in unison. Noon at the Joint Forces Chow Hall was a controlled chaos of boots stomping and metal trays clattering. She had entered quietly, carrying her tray with the calm presence of someone who had learned not to demand space. Invisibility was survival. Most didn't know her. She was just another body in uniform. Her fatigues bore no rank, no ribbons, no badges, just a simple name patch: Hale. She moved through the line with efficient movements and stepped aside, but a large Marine barreled straight toward her. His shoulders slammed into her tray with deliberate force, knocking mashed potatoes and green beans onto the floor. "Eyes up, lady," he barked, his volume calculated for maximum humiliation. "Marines don't wait behind support staff." A nearby table chuckled. "You show her, Smitty." She didn't shout. She simply lowered herself, picked up the spilled pieces one by one, and placed what she could salvage back onto the tray. Methodical. Dignified. The Marine sneered, "Pathetic. If you can't handle a Chow Hall bump, you're in the wrong base." She walked past him without a word. No comeback, no challenge. He smirked, victory claimed, until she stepped toward the seating area. At the far corner, 8 SEALs exchanged glances. Recognition fired like neurons connecting. "Did he just shove her?" one muttered, his posture tightening. "He really doesn't know who she is," another whispered, his expression turning ice cold. "Do we stand?" "Not yet." They watched her as she found a spot near the exit. She sat down and instinctively rubbed her shoulder. The old wound remembered the sacrifice. That was the moment the SEAL's decision became final. The Marine, still riding his high, strutted to the table next to hers. "Hey, sweetheart," he called out. "Next time watch where you walk." She didn't respond. Instead, she lifted a folded medical release paper from her pocket. Her hand shook slightly as she opened it, not from fear but from nerve damage that never quite healed. It was a record of a classified rescue mission, a reminder of the price she'd paid. She tucked it away, hiding the tremor. "What's that?" "A hall pass," the Marine mocked. The tension snapped. 8 chairs scraped back at the same time, a unified, synchronized sound that sliced through the room like a blade. Conversations froze. Forks stopped midair. The SEALs walked straight toward her, formation tight, purpose absolute. A senior chief with a scar like a lightning strike stopped beside her chair. "Ma'am," he said quietly, respect coloring every syllable. "Would you like us to handle this?" "No," she said, her voice soft but clear. "No trouble." The Marine laughed nervously, his bravado cracking. "Oh, please. What is she? Your mascot?" The senior chief turned his head slowly. "Marine," he said, his voice dropping into a command tone. "Sit down. Now." "Why would I?" "Because you just shoved a woman whose actions saved more SEALs than you've ever met." The silence that followed was absolute. The Marine's smirk evaporated. "Saved SEALs?" "Her." One of the SEALs nodded. "Operation Black Summit ring a bell?" The room stiffened. That name was spoken only with reverence. "When our team was pinned in the corridor collapse," the SEAL continued, pointing directly at her, "you know who dragged 2 of us out with a busted shoulder?" The Marine blinked rapidly. "But she's not even wearing rank." "She doesn't need to," the senior chief replied. "Everyone who knows her carries the rank for her." A younger SEAL stepped forward, emotion thick in his voice. "Ma'am, I never said thank you that day." She shook her head gently. "You lived. That was enough." The Marine's face drained of color. Shame flooded where confidence had lived. "Who?" he whispered. "Who are you?" "Lieutenant Commander Arya Hale," the senior chief replied. "The woman who saved half of SEAL Team 11. A wave of whispers rippled through the hall. "No way. That's her?" The Marine slowly stepped back. "Ma'am, I didn't know." She finally met his eyes. Her gaze held no anger, only truth. "You shouldn't have to know someone's story to treat them with respect." The line hit the room harder than an explosion. The SEALs didn't return to their table. They sat with her, creating a barrier of brotherhood. Even the Marines who hadn't seen the incident lowered their heads as they passed. The Marine who started it all stayed behind, alone with his shame. He began picking up the food she had dropped earlier, retrieving the pieces from under the tables. He brought them to her tray, unable to make eye contact. "I'm sorry," he said, the words genuine this time. She nodded, accepting it with the same grace that insults couldn't erode. As she rose to leave, her service dog falling into step beside her, every seal at the table stood again. At the door, the senior chief called out, "Ma'am, if you ever need a team behind you, you know where to find us." She smiled softly, a look that seemed to lighten the burden of her memories. "I always have." The doors closed, but the lesson remained. Honor doesn't need volume, it needs truth.